you doing? I'm Michael Bell, the voice of Duke.
Hi, this is Adrienne Palicki, Lady J from G.I. Joe.
Hey there, it's Rachel Nichols, aka Scarlett.
And if you're listening...
And you're listening...
And you are listening to Anything Joe's, a collaborative journey through the world of G.I. Joe with Greg and Jaren.
Yo, Joe!
It's Greg and Jaren on the mic. Let's go. Time to dive into the world of G.I. Joe. From comics to toys, cartoons to flicks. Exploring every era, get your nostalgia fix. Classified secrets to vintage finds. Analyzing story arcs, collecting toy lines. Whether you're a pro or a new recruit, join the team, grab your gear, follow suit. It's Anything Joe's, your frontline crew. Every facet of the Joe world we're searching through. Yo, Joe, Cobra, the battle's begun. A collaborative journey, let's have some fun.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Anything Joe's, a collaborative journey through the world of G.I. Joe. My name is Greg Engel.
And I'm Jaren Decker.
And we'll be your host today. Today on Anything Joe's, we're going to talk mostly about classified stuff. We're going to talk a little bit about what's come in recently. And boy, that's been a lot. And we're going to talk about some reveals that we've seen over the last week or two. I thought instead of holding recent acquisitions to the end, we'd go ahead and launch off with it at the start, because this is stuff that most people are getting in or have gotten in recently, and we're just going to kind of touch on it a little bit. Jaren and I both have completely different stuff in, and if it's all right with him, I'm going to go ahead and go first, because I think I have a little bit more, unfortunately, for my wallet. So I've got 3 things to show that have come in recently. I'm only going to talk about them for just a second. The first thing I've got is the Slaughter's Marauders. I guess it's not really a Slaughter's Marauders pack. I could just call that because it has Sergeant Slaughter. But there's a Sergeant Slaughter Mercer 2-pack that's loaded with stuff. I'll be doing an unboxing on this on my channel if you want to see it in great detail. But we're just going to touch on it briefly here. So I'm not a big fan of the concept of this. The 2-pack, in a perfect world, has 2 figures that you really want in your collection. And this one has one must-have figure, in my opinion, Mercer, but a third Sarge I am not really very excited about. I mean, I had nothing against Sarge, who I love, but this particular design, which doesn't really invoke any particular era of the Sarge, I just don't see me having any use for him at all. I do like that he has this little red beret right here that makes him look like, not quite like when he was like a bad guy in the WWF, but it's what it makes me think of. Now, Mercer, on the other hand, I am very excited about, and I think this is a really good version of him. I'll show you like an up-close shot of his, because he has 2 different heads. He's got his like iconic anti-Cobra. It's a tattoo in the movie, and it's so weird that they made the choice to remove a tattoo that we know for a fact it's like canon that he has, and they turned it into a patch. I don't get the logic that I don't understand the thought process. But anyway, I'll be doing an unboxing of this. I'll have more to say on it. I'm very excited about the Mercer. I hope the rest of the Renegades are coming, but Mercer has always been the standout hit of the 3. He's the only guy that got a second figure, which doesn't look like this version at all. But yeah, I'm stoked about that.
Greg, they got rid of the tattoos because of people like you. You guys are like, no, tattoos.
And yet, I'm sure we're going to pull something else out here. We'll pull out like Hawk V1, and he'll be tatted from head to toe.
Big net.
The second thing I have, this just came in. It shipped under its old code name, which was Kenny. That's what they always they always have so people don't know what they're getting. They always have code names. And this was a Target exclusive shared with Hasbro Pulse, like most of them are. I had forgotten that I'd even ordered this. So when it said Kenny shipped, I was like, oh, I got to track down what that even means. The Diver 2-pack is just it's part of the Mass Device set, which I think is a bit of a cheap shot if you're trying to get all 3 of them, and you had to buy this exclusive. And it's essentially a troop builder set. You get 1 villain diver and 1 Joe diver. And the villain diver, this is actually pretty cool. The only thing I don't like about it is it's 2 generic troop builders, and this is really more of Jaren's thing than mine. I won't be unboxing this because I just don't know what I would do with them. I don't have anywhere to display them. I don't have any dioramas or anything set up, so it's just like, I mean, maybe someday I'll have something to do with them, but for now, I don't. I think the accessory loadout on this is cool. I mean, I do really like these. Troop builders are tough in this scale because I can barely afford one of everything that's coming out right now. I mean, I really can't afford it. I'm just like stretched as thin as it gets. But so the idea that I can troop build as many troops as these guys are putting out is there's no way, man. This is what, $35 set or 50 or something? I don't know. I should have even bought it. So the idea that I'm ever going to have more than one diver of good and bad just doesn't, I don't think it's going to check out. So I have mixed feelings about it. I do like the set a lot. I just don't know what I'm going to do with it.
I've had to be so selective on what I'm buying because of the cost. I mean, that's a big factor, but also space. I am like, dude, my room is bursting at the seams. I know you had to feel the same way with all your stuff. I'm like, sheesh. Like, even like the Awe Striker, I'm like, the Awe Striker looks super cool, but that's a lot of space, you know? Like, the Stingers went on clearance not that long ago, and they were like, what, $50 or something somewhere? And I wanted to get another one, but I'm like, I just can't justify it, you know? Like, at the price, yeah, I want it. I'll try to paint it green and have another vamp maybe, but just the sheer, like, not knowing where the heck I'm going to put it, it deterred me for sure.
Yeah, I'd like to put an open call out. If you consider yourself to have an above average size classified collection, you can determine that however you want. I'd like to see images of how you're displaying them. What's your storage like? Is everything open? Is everything on display? How? Like, I would like to brainstorm some ideas for displayed figures of this scale when there's so many of them. Jaren, to add to that, you were able to get something that I have not at this point been able to acquire yet. Would you like to tell me about it?
Yes, I would love to rub it in your face that I actually got something first for once.
Okay.
So it honestly completely forgot that I pre-ordered it. We had like the exact opposite. You weren't sure if you did. I was pretty sure I did not, but it's a snake armor. And boy, howdy, am I glad that I did. This thing is so cool. Like, it's huge. I don't have it in front of me, and the only reason I don't is because my son stole it. Like, he's 5 years old, and he's obsessed with it. Being able to flip, like, change out the hands, put the little flamethrower in. Like, it's the first of my action figures that he's like, he wants it. He's like, "Are you going to give that to me?" And I'm like, "No, not that one, buddy. Sorry. Here's a bat." You know. Here's
a helpful chart to show price versus likelihood that you can destroy it.
Yeah, exactly. But it's so cool, and like we've had different toys like in it. Like for some reason they got one of my Ahsoka Black Series figures, and they were like, "She goes in here now," and you know, hey, they've got their own universes in their heads. But it is a sick action figure, and it functions well. I didn't have any issues. I know I've seen some people talk about like weird gaps and stuff. Mine, once I just actually like put it all together and like popped the little pieces in and did all of that where it needed to go, it all fit together perfectly. I am impressed by how well it is articulated, I guess would be the best way for me to say that. Like it has a motion and it moves, it's, you know, everything way better than I thought it would. I thought it was going to be really tight and limited, but it was, I mean, it's definitely playable for sure. And it doesn't feel like you're going to break. I want to give him a big amount of credit on that. My son will pick it up and hold it with one hand. I mean, he grabbed it by just the head that pops open, you know, and he was like picking it up and moving it, and it was staying on. So serious engineering went into that for sure.
That's awesome. I had been seeing reports that the snake armor will show up very randomly in the mornings, and there would be like single digits available for purchase. People would swarm on it when the word got out. I have yet to I've not been that fortunate yet. I don't even remember how I missed it in the first place, to be quite honest. I also missed the pre-order on that Steeler and Short Fuse 2-pack, which I will have. I don't know if I'll have to buy it secondhand or not, but I'm gonna get that set because I'm not gonna miss any of the OG-13s.
Has there been any you've had to go secondhand on recently?
Not recently. I'm
Okay.
pretty much holding the line. I have almost broken down and purchased dial tone 2 or 3 times at this point because I've found him at what I consider to be a reasonable. Maybe I pay like 10 to 15 extra dollars, which is not great. And every time I'm like, you know what? Don't do it. Because I do have one ordered through Pulse. It just doesn't look like it's ever going to fulfill. So I'm just trying to hold the line. But that dial tone specifically is the last figure that I've looked at aggressively to purchase secondhand. Everybody else I've either got on order or it's on my like list of stuff that I missed that I don't think is ever going to be truly hard to get a hold of.
Yeah.
Like the Python Televiper stuff that we were looking at the last con is still on my list. I'm not really looking for it, but I will need to get it at a certain point.
Yeah.
The last thing that I have in recently, and I will be doing an unboxing in this as well, is the Hawk with the MMS. This is really I just unboxed it to show it to you guys now. I have not had a chance to look at it at all. I'm pretty excited about this. The MMS, I don't have strong feelings about. It'll be a nice, display piece, but it's not something that I had to have. It's just another, piece of machinery. But this OG like V1 Hawk I was very excited about because we're getting very close to having the entire green shirt OG-13 lineup, which I think is awesome. So I wanted to get that, and it also kind of motivated me to think about maybe separating the OG-13s into their own like separate display because it would just be those 13 figures and maybe the Vamp if I had the room just to kind of give it some fleshed out, and I'd put that Hawk with them. I could get an extra Snake Eyes out that way because the rest of the team I'll use V2 Hawk, I'll use one of the other Snake Eyes, maybe like the newer Scarlet. It would just give me a way to get some more figures out and it still makes sense. I don't want to have like all 4 Snake Eyes in the same display. I like my display to look like sort of like a group yearbook photo where they're all kind of posing. I'm sure that's I'm sure that's a common thought.
Yeah.
But I had talked about this on one of my older unboxing videos that like this Battle Armor Cobra Commander, I've got just like here at the desk, I've got that cartoon accurate Snake Eyes. These are figures that I was like, these are different enough that I want to open them and check them out. But I don't want to, I have a Cobra Commander, I have a Snake Eyes. So they're just kind of like, they just live around my desk because I don't know what else to do with them.
You should do another shadow box like the one you have for your original OG-13. And do that with your classified.
I would love to do that. I think they make one that's like, I don't know if it's 6-inch scale, but I know they usually make them for baseball bats.
Yeah.
You see them at Michael's and Hobby Lobbies. I would maybe look into that because that would actually be super cool. We still have a couple guys to go, if I'm not mistaken, to have the whole lineup. But this is as close as I didn't think we'd ever get this far within this amount of time. Hawk V1 is definitely a holdout because you always go with the Hawk that got more screen time, like the old General Hawk.
Yeah.
So all that and then so much more. I mean, I had done an unboxing on Slice and Dice. That Snake Eyes, that Battle Armor Cobra Commander. I mean, I'm swimming in classified stuff, and it has invigorated me. My love of classified has got like an ebb and flow. There's some stuff that gets me motivated, and then there's a couple things that don't hit right, or we get a lull where there's nothing coming out, and you kind of lose your interest and focus a little bit, or you're getting slammed like I am right now, and you're more concerned about where you're going to get the money to pay for the figures than you are the enjoyment of the figures. But right now, despite the fact that we're getting crunched, just like the weight of how fast the line is expanding is, it's got me kind of pumped up. Plus, we're getting ready to talk about some reveals that I'm pretty stoked about. I've got G.I. Joe stuff showing up today. That Super 7 Reaction Plus line that they just announced. Talk about fast. They were like, oh, here it is. You guys want to see it? Okay, well, why don't you just go ahead and order it, and we'll have it at your house in a week. I'm like, man, I got a plan for these types of things. I'm going to do an unboxing of those. It'll be up probably around the same time this episode is because I'm very excited about those. Those are like the hidden gem of the G.I. Joe world right now, in my opinion. Jaren, what else you got on your plate?
So the other thing I grabbed, I had made a trip over to a local comic store called The Zone. They always like share like, hey, we got these new classifieds in and stuff. They do a really good job of it. Great comic store. I'm not going to get too involved in comics talk because we could go on a tangent there for hours. But I picked up a heavy duty there, and he's another really cool figure. I love that figure. It was one of those ones that, like, when I saw it, I was like, yeah, I mean, I might pick it up eventually. And then I was there, and I was like, man, he looks pretty cool. He's like that right amount of like just outside the box of like kind of weird, but also like still kind of normal. Like, and he has that huge big wearable thing. That's another one my son has just jacked. Like him.
Yeah.
My son and my daughter, both 5 years old. They take them and play, and so they're both upstairs right now on the like living room coffee table thing, because they'd been playing with them until right before they went to bed. So, heavy duty, very cool figure. Lot of accessories. It is weird that he doesn't have a gun other than the big giant wearable thing. Like, I thought he'd have like a pistol or something, but pretty cool figure.
If you need an extra classified gun, buddy, I got like a punch bowl that's just random accessory that I don't know what to do with. I won't get into heavy duty, but other than to say that it's not been that long since I also got heavy duty, and I'll just say that I really like the way that they modernized his kit, because in the original figure, he's got two handles and he holds it out, and that thing's got to be 500 pounds, and somehow he's expected to just hold it up in midair. A great example of a ridiculous concept that they did not abandon. They just tried to like absorb it for it to make sense, and it works so well. It is a very, very strong figure. Let's take a look at what's coming down the pipeline for the G.I. Joe classified line next. With the exception of the final figure that we're talking about today, these are all digital reveals. I don't think we've seen any physical reveals of these yet, because they're still all piping fresh. And the first thing we've got to talk about is Mole Rat V2. I would not have expected this, quite frankly. But I guess in the spirit of a reuse repaint, it only made sense that we were going to see it again at some point. Mole Rat is a new original character, if you're not familiar with him, and he's supposed to be tied into the Void Rivals universe, loosely. I don't think we've seen that manifest yet. I might be mistaken. I'm a little bit behind. The idea is that these are Vipers. Correct me if you know more about this, Jaren, but I think they're Vipers that have been infected or somehow changed by Energon. And that's really all I know about them. I don't know if what their job is. They harvest it, they utilize it. Are they zombies?
A few moments later.
Here's the official data I can find. This comes to us from the G.I. Joe, one of the many G.I. Joe fandom sites, G.I. Joe GIJoeFandom.fandom.com. Mole rats are Cobra miners, often used in the organization's efforts to tap resources in order to fuel their schemes. Cobra has long relied on exotic resources to fuel their advanced technology, such as radioactive crystals, Compound Z, meteorite metal, Dragonfire energy, and so on. These are all nods to actual storylines from G.I. Joe. Dragonfire is from the second G.I. Joe cartoon. Compound Z is the like zombie stuff that makes Toxo zombies. Recovering these materials is often difficult, with them often being located in remote areas, deep underground, extreme conditions, or combinations thereof. The mole rats were created as a mining force for Cobra, used in the collections of these resources to further their aim. Being reassigned to the mole rats is used as punishment duty, with the implication that the offender can earn their way back to their prior positions through performance. In other cases, they are drawn from those that have been caught up in various Cobra schemes, ranging from captives to those who fail to read the fine print on the terms of service. Regardless of their source, mole rats are given enough training and mining to allow them to competently fulfill their job. They are treated as ultimately expendable resources, often sent in with little safety training for whatever situations they may encounter, which can be a problem when dealing with more exotic substances. In past, this has resulted in infections or even unforeseen mutations among mole rat crews. Great, that gives me all the information I needed, honestly. So, this is obviously a mole rat that has done his job poorly, and as a result, there is a breakout. I do like this character a lot, and sometimes it's just as simple as reading that blurb to put the idea in my head. so it can grow. And this is an awesome follow-up. Both of the heads for these guys are awesome. The one where his like eye is being taken over, he has like a sort of toxo zombie vibe going on. Like he looks ruthless and just like he's his like teeth look like they're getting sharp, and he's obviously just being mutated into what in my mind I'm thinking is just like a mindless monster. Like they can't control him at all anymore. You could argue that if you wanted to write your continuity a little bit, that this could be the birth of Toxo Zombies instead of Compound Z, which is a storyline that's not really got a lot of foothold anywhere. The head that they've got on him, where his head is like exploding and Energon is everywhere, and it looks like a Last of Us type monster with growth everywhere, is very, very cool. Is very horror influenced. And so it's surprising that it's borderline would be scary to a certain age kid. And then there is also a mask, which I am unclear if that's an alternate head or if it would fit over top of the less deformed head.
Going off of the first release, it's another head.
Yeah, I can see how that fragment where his eye is would probably make it impossible to cover it up. So that makes sense. He's also got kind of like a cleaning backpack, which I guess is for whatever the materials he's harvesting. Looks like some kind of like Geiger counter or radiation device. I don't know the exact things of it, but I did watch Chernobyl on HBO, so it looks like one of them. He's got some kind of lantern, I guess for mining purposes, and he's got two weapons. I'm going to assume at least one of these, probably the bigger one, is meant to attach to the backpack, and that's for whatever, they suck up the energy or the crystals or whatever.
I think it's actually the opposite. I think the one is a drill that drills in, and then the other one attaches to the backpack and harvests it, and then they use those containers to carry it. You couldn't be more right. If I look at it closely, you can clearly see that's a drill. That's a perfect place for me to just shut up and let you take over, Jaren. Tell me what you think about Mole Rat V2. So I think it's fun that they, on like the Facebook post that they did, they say like the corruption spreads. I find it weird that, I know why they did it, because they have to have an actual repaint, but like if it's more corrupt, why does he have a different uniform on? Kind of thing. But
yeah,
maybe he's just maybe it's just lower levels. Like, these guys are the next level down. They're a little further into the mine or something. But yeah, I love these mole rats. I think they're such a cool figure, and they like the first one, the V1, I guess we're saying, it's a lot more posable. It's got a lot more maneuverability, I guess, than I thought it would, just by looking at it. Especially like in this photo, he looks like he shouldn't be able to do anything. But
yeah,
I think this is a really cool idea, and I love that they aren't just getting rid of this character, because he kind of came, and I don't think anyone hated him, but I don't think anyone was like, this is the coolest thing ever. And maybe I'm wrong, but I'm glad to see that they're continuing, and I hope that we do get to see these guys, because I think I'm caught up in the Energon verse on the G.I. Joe side, so unless they're in the Transformers or Void Rival books, then I don't think that they are in the comics yet, but I hope they do get to the comics. I think they would be and if you know the storyline of where the comics go, it seems like they should be in the comics. Like they'll be the next, they'll be coming at some point in the not very distant future. So hopefully we get to see them. I want to see whatever the next one is. If this is stage 2, I want to see stage 3. I want those spikes coming out of everywhere. I want his uniform. I want him to look like Doomsday, like first appearance Doomsday. Just spikes coming through all the uniform and stuff ripped open. I think that would be so cool.
I have two additional thoughts on that. And before I get into them, I do just want to say that I pushed my glasses up, and I can now tell that mask is definitely a second head, because you can see the base of the head just at the top of that image. So just to put that to rest. Two thoughts. So The reason that the outfit is a different color is because it has a strong reaction to the energon when it's directly exposed to it. And it not only transmutes the body, but it also transmutes other materials, changing it maybe at an atomic level. That's a no prize for me. And the second thought I have is Mole Rat V3 be a deluxe, but minimal on the accessories, but make him as big as a Doomsday figure. Make him an absolute huge monstrous beast, like a Mega Viper, Bio Viper, right? Make him a Bio Viper. That would make me so happy. Just a huge hulking guy by the scale of G.I. Joe is just like a beast. Like he's just grown to 3 times his normal size. But yeah, I'd be sold on that in a heartbeat. All good stuff. I will say that even I love this idea. I will have this figure, but it's again a troop builder that I think it's very funny that on the official blurb for it, it's like, here's another great new addition to the Hasbro universe for troop building. Like you might as well just say, hey, will you buy like half a dozen of these as opposed to just one Flint, because that's what we really need from you. Next up in our digital renders, we have Lifeline. So this is an interesting figure. Lifeline is a classic 1986 staple, regardless of how you feel about the character. I think he's awesome. You know, he's the only second medic next to Doc, and I think he's got I really like Lifeline's overall look. He looks like a medic. He's not. There's nothing truly unrealistic about Lifeline's design. A few things have changed in the digital render from how I envision original Lifeline. Like he has this very prominent collar showcasing that he's definitely wearing a jacket now, which I have no issues with. I'm just pointing out that it's like kind of a new thing. He has always had the word rescue written down his leg. I would have expected it to be much larger because on the original figure, it's like it takes up the whole side of his leg. He's got a little like digital readout thing on his belt, which I'm assuming is like some kind of medical alert thing, or, you know, something he can either scan injured patients with or administer some kind of medication with. I'm a big fan of that. He's got like I think this is the G.I. Joe like rescue logo. I can't remember, but I've seen this logo before. I'm not very good with this with the logos. Lifeline comes with 2 pairs of glasses, and not including the pair that he's wearing. He has a backpack that looks very similar to the one he came with originally. He's got a like a medical case. I don't know what you call a briefcase for doctors. It opens up and it has it looks like probably oxygen and other, you know, baseline medical kit. That'll do. Sure. I see a oxygen rebreathing type mask, you know, to administer oxygen. It looks like some kind of, I don't know if that's a blood. It looks like a transfusion kit. It just maybe I would have expected it to maybe be in the other direction with the bag. And is that what you were seeing? Maybe I'm just looking at a Rorschach test here. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It looks like a bag of what would be like a bag of blood or plasma for transfusion. Okay, because I don't know what else it could be. I see
could be like morphine. Could be like a morphine drip, maybe.
You're right. Yeah, it could absolutely be. And there's just no color to it, but maybe it's clear to look like it could actually hold liquids. Is why it's like that. They've got one of those little handheld military lights that I'm used to like Outback having. He's got a small little knife that looks like he has a pouch for, and then a most controversial of all, he has a pistol. People have a lot of strong feelings about this, and if you're not aware why, it's because of the original Lifeline card art and V1 figure has a pistol on it. But almost every version of Lifeline we've ever seen, both in the comic book and the cartoon, Lifeline is identified as a pacifist. And the cartoon, he really lays on how heavy-handed it is about him being a pacifist. In the comic, I don't know if Larry picked this up. I assume not, but it's probably just a coincidence. But he was like, it's from a Special Missions, G.I. Joe Special Missions number 4. He outmaneuvers these guys. They try to fight him, and there's a very specific type of martial arts where you aren't fighting at all. You're just avoiding being hit. And he knows that martial arts skill. So, of course, Larry knows how to make it cool. So, people have a lot of strong thoughts about that. And also, they reissued that exact same Lifeline. He came in as a cereal giveaway, and the cereal guys were like, "Hey, could you not give him a gun? We're going to put this in the cereal for kids." And they agreed to do that. And as a result, that Lifeline is considered a little bit more accurate to the character Lifeline. So there's a little fun trivia fact for it if you didn't know it. So people are a little hot over it, which I think is funny because he comes with a gun in the card art. The original one came with a gun, and this might shock you, but the only thing you have to do is take that holster off, and then he'll look exactly like the same, which is what I'm going to do. My Lifeline is a pacifist, so I'm going to take that holster off, and I'm going to give that gun away, and then he's going to look fine. And if you want to keep it on yours, hey man, that's no sweat off my brow. I'm not going to force you to make him a pacifist, guys. We're all just playing toys together. So I think this figure looks good. I do think the helmet could look a little better. Something about the chin strap or something makes it look a little less like the original in my mind, but it does not offend in any way. The only thing about this figure that will offend me is if those glasses don't stay on his face, I'm going to lose my mind. I do appreciate that they're the like green shades because that's is like his signature look as well. Jaren, I realize you might not know a lot about Lifeline, but do you have any thoughts on him?
I think he looks cool. I do think it's funny, the discourse on the gun. And not saying that anybody's wrong. I just always found it funny because the Lifeline I bought was the mail away. Back when I first started getting into Joe's, I got the mail away. But I also found it funny that he didn't have a gun, but he had a holster. So then I always thought it was weird that he had a holster on his chest, but didn't have a gun. It's just there because they're making me, but they don't make him hold the gun. Like, even if he doesn't use it, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't really feel strongly either way. I think having a pacifist it's cool, just as something that differentiates him from all the other Joes. I think this figure looks incredible. To me, he is different. So we talked a little bit about before we started recording, the police officer, and for me, I don't need that in my Joe universe. I don't I think it's a cool figure, but to me, I don't the Joes that I have are going on missions. I don't need somebody that, is a police officer that's going to write somebody a ticket or, do whatever, protect and serve and all that. But this guy serves a purpose on that mission. Even if he's not shooting people, he's making sure the Joes come back. So that fits a lot better than you're not going to send somebody who's an NYPD guy and be like, all right, go to freaking Buenos Aires or wherever and extract somebody. Well, he doesn't have jurisdiction, so it is what it is. But I think this Lifeline is super cool. I think the accessories are unique, and I'm a sucker for the little can be used for a multitude of ways. You've got the oxygen mask, that'll be cool to have. You've got the little drip or transfusion kit or whatever you want to want to use it for. I think they left it clear so we can use it for everything. Just let our imaginations run wild, I guess.
Mine's got Mountain Dew in it.
Yeah, exactly. I do think I'm excited to see what he looks like without the helmet because I think it looks weird because it looks to be removable. And I think it looks a little bit like, I don't know, I don't think you're a football guy, but in football they have these new things called a Guardian helmet. So you wear your regular helmet and then there's this thick cushion that goes on the outside of the helmet and it just makes it look a little too big. I think that's what this looks like.
Oh yeah, I looked one up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to see what he looks like without the helmet as well. The modern Lifeline was one of the first times we saw what he would look like without the helmet. So we kind of have in the cartoon, he always had his helmet off. So we kind of have an idea what his hairstyle would look like. I think based on the face alone, I think they've probably got that under control because I do think this is pretty lined up.
All right, so next up, we're going to talk about Brent Hit and Run Scott. This is a cool figure. It does look different than the 60th anniversary action, whichever one it was that everyone's like, oh, it's basically Hit and Run. So
this is the parachutist, I think.
Yes, yeah. I don't remember what his official name was. Was it Parachute? I don't. They've been showing up at Ollie's, and I need one.
There's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of those. I need to go look for those as well because they're $11.99 or something. It's dirt cheap.
Yeah. But I mean, I think this figure looks really cool. I'm intrigued to see what body they use because they like to you got to reuse stuff. He looks really thin on this digital render, like a really kind of slender look to it. But I love the camoed look. I think Hit and Run's such a cool figure. He's like the kind of guy, like in my opinion, like if I was gonna have like a one man guy, I'm dropping that guy in the plane. Like in my mind when I was playing, like even remembering as a kid, you take your one guy and he's behind enemy lines. Like when I look at this figure, that's what I think of. Like, oh, this guy's going on a mission. He's gonna be doing his thing. He looks so sneaky, like he's gonna blend in. I think he's really cool. Now I don't know a whole lot about Hit and Run. I don't know what his story is in any of the cartoons. Have we seen him in any of the cartoons that I've watched, Greg?
No.
Has he got a big
Hit and Run is not I would say has not had a lot of, like, I say screen time. When I say screen time, I'm just talking about everything G.I. Joe related. He does not show up a lot, which is kind of crazy for two reasons. One, he's in the, like, what most people consider to be the peak years. This is like an 87 or an 88, I think he is, and which is just coming down, kind of getting into the second generation of Joe fans. But what I'm getting at is that a lot of people really like Hit and Run. Probably because he's got such a streamlined look. Like, he's just like, here's some camo, and also I put it all over me as well because that's how cool I am. And so your assessment is accurate. He just looks like a guy that's ready to get into business right away. He's loaded for battle, and even the look on his face is just like, I'm not here to mess around. But no, we have not seen. There is not a lot of like continuity for Hit and Run other than his file card, which is basically just says he was an orphan that kept running away, and that he's exceptionally good at running, essentially. And like, it's scaling. It's interesting that there's no rope featured here because Hit and Run, the original Hit and Run, has like this backpack shoulder duffel bag thing that you're seeing, and then there's a rope that attaches to it. All the components are here for it, so surely there is a rope. But maybe it's wound up in that bag, but it's got to attach to either that grappling hook or that that's one of the things that they probably zip line with. So I have to assume there's the rope. They were just like somebody at Hasbro Computer Incorporated was like, I'm not digitally drawing a rope. Are you crazy? It's just a line. So I get that, but yeah, I would assume that they're including that as well. He's got a very nice, like, traditional assault rifle. I don't exactly know the make and model of that, but it just looks very real world, which I think is cool. His
original gun was like a little shorter, wasn't it? Or am I just misremembering that? Because I had a Hit and Run, one of the vintage Hit and Runs, and yes, I still love that figure. I think because as much as I like the weird stuff, I also am a big sucker for just like Green Army Man. So I think that's why I like Hit and Run so much, because he's like one of the later ones that fits in really well with the original 13.
Yeah, myself included in this statement, I think a lot of us bought that parachutist because they were going to make him a Hit and Run, because he was very, very close. And we all knew that there would be a Hit and Run based off of that, because that's the obvious decision. I just don't think we expected it quite so quickly, because I haven't even opened that parachutist yet. So getting him from there to becoming a custom Hit and Run was going to be a long road. Now I don't have to bother with it at all. I think this figure looks very good. This is another figure that I had, I expressed concern about figures that are so faithful to the original that they sometimes lack that like pop of excitement. And this figure does not suffer from that, as long as they don't like mess up the kneecap coloring, for example, on that Footloose, where the plastic is two totally different colors. As long as it looks just like this, I think they've got a slam dunk. I think the hardcore fans will be pleased. Those of us that just like to see, like, I just want to see all the characters in the roster made at the end of the run, by the end of the run. And so I'm always happy to see a character we don't have represented. I do like Hit and Run. I've not used him a whole lot in my like long career with G.I. Joe, but I think he's an awesome figure, and I'm excited to add him to the roster. I'll probably get that rope out and try to display him, like scaling the side of the display cabinet or something fun like that.
Oh, that would be cool.
This is another figure that I'd like to see without his helmet off, because we don't really know what Hinren looks like without his helmet off. So I'm interested in seeing how they kind of flesh that out.
Next up is our first look at the New York Comic Con and MCM London exclusive, although it's also available online, Pythona for the classified series. The Cobra Law Pythona, which I am very unfamiliar with because I think the last issue of Void Rivals that I had actually read was when she was like teased, or maybe the one where she's on the cover, but I don't really know anything about her. As far as the figure, looks super cool. Really weird, right up my alley. A lot of weird accessories that, because I don't know her, I don't understand what the heck those little creature-looking things are, but I don't know if I'm supposed to be able to understand what those little creature things are, other than that it's a little creature thing. I want to point out, like, the, I guess, highlight just the color on it, like the webbing on, like the paint app on all the webbing and stuff looks so cool. It's a very good detail, very good, because you get to see multiple different shades, and then like it just looks like there is a depth on that. It's super cool. Gosh, this thing looks all kinds of messed up though. Greg, tell me about Pythona and why the heck she looks like this.
Okay, so I love the G.I. Joe animated movie, and I have seen it many times. So I'm looking at all this stuff, and I'm like, how much of this stuff do I actually recognize? Some of it, I can walk you through it right now. So in the opening of the G.I. Joe movie, Pythona is attacking the Cobra Terrordrome, or whatever you call their like main base, because it's the biggest Terrordrome you've ever seen. And in this one single like 5-minute scene, a lot of the stuff that is featured here is only shown in this scene. There's on the left-hand side, there's a little brown pod that has two little like tongues coming out of it. This is a reference to when Pythona faces off against like 3 Crimson Guards in the hallway. She holds this thing out, and this like, it looks like Chinese fortune cookie fortunes, basically. It comes out of it, and it wraps them up completely like mummies and holds them. It's just a very quick shot. When she's infiltrating, I'm going to flop over to the right-hand side. When she's infiltrating the base before she's actually gotten inside, she has to cut through this electrified fence. And she pulls out this 4-bodied snake. It's it divides into 4 snake heads. And she throws it at the gate, and they bite the gate open, and it like turns off the electricity so she can get through it. It's starting to get a little gray after this. The pink gem in the middle is from one of my favorite lines from the G.I. Joe animated movie. It's when Zartan's like, why should we help you at all? And she's like, does a gem of this size answer your questions? And Zartan's like, a gem of that size answers all of my questions. And it's great. And it's cool to see it here because I love it. So after that, I'm not 100% sure. These little like Tron discs down here do not ring a bell, but we could be looking at some stuff that is from Void Rivals that I just haven't seen. We also might be looking at some stuff that I am just not, like, if I see it at a different angle, I would recognize it. This little like thing beside her hood that looks like a clam opening up is either a nod to the gigantic clam that opens up and that holds Cobra Commander as a prisoner, or it could also be a nod to when Pythona first meets Serpentor. She has a little thing like this, and it opens up, and it shows him the broadcast energy transmitter like a little hologram. So it's sort of like a weird telecommunications device for their weird organic lifestyle. The other stuff, I'm not real sure about this little critter that's in the upper right-hand corner. She does throw a pod onto a Crimson Guard's mask that like melts it away with acid. It could be either or both of these. Like here it is when it's opening and attacking, and here it is when it's not. I might be mistaken. I'm also really confused about the hands, because the 2 alternate hands, one of them has got like salad fingers. They're like turning they're turning green. I don't know if it's supposed to be like that's like her acid, because she has these like acid fingernails. I don't know if it's supposed to be that. Some power I'm not familiar with. And this other hand, I don't even know what I'm looking at. It looks like she just like accidentally put her hand in a tub of KFC mashed potatoes, and this is what she pulled out. I don't know. I don't know what it's supposed to be, man. So a tremendous accessory loadout. And if you have a clearer picture of some of the stuff that I don't recognize, please leave us a comment and let us know, because it's I'm sure they have something in mind. I'm just not like connecting it in my brain. The Pythona figure, I think, looks perfectly fine. If I was going to change anything, I wish that the suit was a slightly more accurate color. I know this is something that I harp on a lot, but we've seen some, we've got a Super 7 Pythona that's shipping out that is a much more accurate paint scheme than this one is. She's got like, it's much closer to a pink than this dark purple. And I'm going to assume they knew that, and they've made the executive decision to like make it look a little bit more like to fit in with the classified world, because the classified world is not exactly the G.I. Joe animated movie. I think we can all agree. So I'm willing to let that go. And the face mold is also kind of off-putting to me as well. I like the alternate head. The eyeshadow and the eyes and the hair all look solid. I'm not a big fan of this like screaming vampire face, because Pythona mostly is a very level-headed and calm character. Even when she's fighting, you don't really see her like this. I don't have any, I mean, like, if you like it, that's cool. I just don't, it's just not for me. It kind of breaks her character. And the digital render, at least, of her regular face also does not click with me for whatever reason. I really do want her to look a lot like she does in the movie. But I'm not disappointed in this at any level. I'm glad that she includes the cloak. I think that's a fundamental part that gets overlooked a lot. The fact that it's like flip dual color and it looks like it's good quality, I'm all in for that. I'm optimistic. Maybe there are more pictures that we're not seeing, but I'm optimistic that the ponytail comes out so the hood can go up, because that is a look that we see in the very first time we see Pythona, is she's got her hood up before we see the hair reveal. I'm very excited for this figure. I have a huge love for characters that we did not get as kids, no matter how much we wanted them. So characters like this finally getting a little piece of the spotlight, I think, is well deserved. And we're already well into the Cobra Law-like collection. We have the Nemesis Enforcer. We have the Once-a-Man Cobra Commander. We have the Pythona. Gosh, she's missing. I cannot wait to see what their Globulus looks like. Truly a character that you can embrace this type of classified mentality, because the more like badass you make Globulus look, the more he's going to win over people that are not a fan of the movie, because he's an awesome character design. Everything about him is super cool. If they make an interchangeable version, this is a long-standing thing with people, and that I talk to at least, including me, was that they would give Globulus a pair of legs. They would take the original toy's tail piece off and give him a set. My Globulus has Crocmaster V1's legs, and because it made him a way more playable figure. That snake tail was not. He couldn't even stand up straight. So even though there was there's never been an instance where somebody's been like, Globulus has legs. I think like many kids were just like, well, mine does, because I want him to be a little bit more usable. So, sorry, I would love to see a classified version where that is embraced in some form. I'd like to see a very well articulated like tail. I'd like to see that pod that we never got that covers the tail for a big part of the movie. And I'd like to see a take on what he would look like give him like crazy lizard legs or serpent legs or something. That's one area where I'd like the creativity to really go. And all that to say, if you guys are not planning a Globulus, you better get on it, because it's going to be some disappointed guys to make it this far in the collection and not get the main man himself. All right, that's going to do it for us today. We've got a bunch of stuff out there. I'm trying to think of what else going on. A lot of stuff I showed you at the beginning of the show, I'll be doing unboxings of this weekend, so they'll be up over the course of this week. I'd love for you guys to check them out. I'm learning about unboxing. I'm trying to cover a corner of, I know unboxings are everywhere and it's a very popular thing. So I'm just trying to like, whatever you guys are interested in an unboxing video, you let me know and I will try to incorporate it into it because I'm enjoying doing it and I'd like to continue to do it as long as there's a little bit of a demand for it. File Cards Volume 9 is out. My attempt to create an original song for every G.I. Joe character that has even a little bit of popularity. I mean, even the smallest of limelight. At least if they got a figure, I'm working on a song for them. Volume 9 is out. I'm very proud of it. I worked very hard. I wrote all the songs. All the lyrics are mine. I sang many of the songs myself to get the lyric placement right. It's only partially AI generated at this point. But if it's not for you, that's fine. If you have listened to older versions and it wasn't for you, I would encourage you to come back because I'm getting much better at it, in my opinion. As a matter of fact, I'll close this show with the opening track from Volume 9. It's for Airborne, so you can listen to, just get a sample of it just in case it's up your alley. I've worked very hard on it, and I just want to say thank you to the people that have listened and wrote, and I'm going to finish it. I mean, it's hundreds of songs, but I'm well into it, and I cannot tell you how much I've loved just learning about the characters, challenging myself to write a set of lyrics based around a very small file card. It's been fun. I've learned a lot about G.I. Joe as a result of it.
Now, have you done a Dr. Link Talbot song, and have I missed it?
No, he is on my,
Okay.
I'm trying to, one of the challenges I've learned is that there's no real comprehensive list of every G.I. Joe character. So I've been slowly trying to build one myself because I not only want to have every character, like every figure represented, but people that have not gotten figures that are still fundamentally important parts of the G.I. Joe mythology. Newer figures, especially Don Marino, Sherlock, all those, I want those characters to be included as well. I'm walking a real fine line between where the cutoff is. I'm not doing any troop builders at this time at all, which does significantly reduce the list. But if they showed up at all, there's very few characters I'm like, no. I think this is a deep cut, but Pelpione, I was like, no, I'm not going to do. As a character that was in this like Storm Shadow miniseries, but just to put in perspective how much research I'm doing into characters that I've overlooked. I want to talk about this at a later episode, but a big part of my passion is I like to know about, like, I would have said that I knew every G.I. Joe character, at least by name. So I was shocked last week to discover I found a G.I. Joe that I had never heard of before. I did not know it was an original character. I have often in my whole life will buy anything G.I. Joe related if it has a new character in it, because I want to have every original character for whatever crazy reason. Hollow Point, which came with a very kind of crappy Lego knockoff, was one of the only figures that they made who was like made just for that line. And I was like, oh, I gotta have him. And of course he has these big Lego studs on his bracers that made him look like a complete fool. He got remade in the modern line later, but it's just an example. I'll buy anything. So when I found out there was somebody out there, I'm not going to tell you who it is. I want to talk about it. I want to buy him, and so I can talk about it on a later episode. He might be he's the only character I've discovered so far that I was like not at least familiar with on a casual level. Sorry, this is going on way too long for the amount of listeners that actually listen to the album. I just want to say, if you listen, thanks so much. I worked really hard on it. I will complete it. If everybody stops listening, I'm doing it for me. I'll finish it for me, for nobody else. So you don't have anything to worry about there. We'd love to hear from you. You find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook under Anything Joe's Pod. You can send us an email directly at anythingjoespod@gmail.com. Talk about anything you want. I'd actually like to do a mail episode with Joel in the near future, and that's at your all's behest. If there's something that you'd like to hear us talk about, this would be a good opportunity to send us an email and let us know what it is, because I'm pretty responsive to that stuff. I like to know what people want us to talk about, and I'll usually just grab it and run with it, because I can talk about anything on this show, or anything's available for discussion on Anything Joe's.